Tu me mets un... Tu stops sur le... 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, ça marche. Thank you very much for being here. So happy and such a crowd. I am very, very pleased to welcome you here for the Vetrine Project Final Conference, which is an EU project about developing a curriculum on sustainability and having all our students and professionals who have been designing prototypes on the basis of that curriculum. So I'm very happy to be here with you. But before we start, I would like to thank Fashion Green Hub for hosting us in such a beautiful place. And I will ask Lena to say us a few words. Lena, it's yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Plateau Fertile Paris. I'm Lena. I'm in charge of the network engagement at Fashion Green Hub. That is an organization that gathers more than 200 stakeholders within the circular and sustainable fashion industry. Just to let you know, we are more than 40% of designers working on different projects, even collaborations. So it's a great pleasure to have you in this space that is dedicated to circular solutions and projects. So the Plateau Fertile Paris. If you have any questions, please contact us. It's always a great pleasure to talk about it. And yeah, I wish you a really nice event. I hope you're going to enjoy. And yes. Good day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now, the project coordinator, Christina Stamataki from Eurotraining.
Wow. What a warm welcome. So I'm Christina Stamataki. I'm the coordinator of the project on behalf of Eurotraining. Eurotraining is an educational organization in Greece. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to Vetrine's Final Conference. I'm truly happy that we are all here today, both those joining us online, even we don't see them, and for the people who are here in the spot, in the meeting, to hear about, share, and hopefully be inspired by the journey of the Vetrine project. Honestly, when I started thinking about what I wanted to say today, I realized something very simple. I didn't want to give just another typical project presentation. I didn't want to focus only on results, numbers, or deliverables, not because they are not important, of course they are, but because I believe when a project comes to an end, what remains the most are not the reports or the documents. It is the people, the moments, the difficulties, and the changes that happen along the way. So, and somehow that made me the idea of telling you a small story. Not a story about Vetrine as a European project, but a story about what I felt this project truly came to life through the people it met. And for me personally, this moment feels even more special because beyond the successful completion of the project, this also marks the completion of my very first experience as a coordinator of a European project. And now that I look back at it, I truly see it as a small journey. A journey filled with excitement, but also anxiety. There were moments of confidence, but so many challenging moments. Mistakes were made, there were difficulties, there were moments of pressure, but all these challenges were overcome through effort, persistence, and above all, good collaboration. And I believe this is something that characterized Vetrine from the very beginning until the end. I remember very clearly the discussions we had in the beginning of the project. We talked about the green transition, sustainability, new skills, and the future of vocational education and training. Everything sounded very correct, very important, very future-oriented. But at the same point, we asked ourselves, yes, but how do you explain to someone who has been working in the sector for years that now they need to change? And how do you help them not fear this change? And how do you prepare young people for it? And I think that was the moment when I truly understood what Vetrine was trying to achieve. Because the green transition, as important as it is often presented as something huge, technical, and very far away from everyday life. We talk about policies, strategies, targets, frameworks, But at the end of the day, change always happens on a personal level. It happens when someone decides to learn something new, when a trainer tries a different approach, when a creator starts thinking differently about what fashion it really means, when someone feels that they can participate in this transition. And I think this is what we try to achieve through Vetrine, to transform a big discussion into something human. At the beginning of the project, we carried out a small focus group research in order to understand what people in fashion sector knew about sustainability in fashion. We asked, had they ever been taught anything related to it? Were there any educational program available? Were they interested in learning something more? At the same point, we conducted desk research to explore what is actually being taught around the topic. And what we discovered was very interesting. There were almost no courses related to sustainability in fashion, and those who knew something about it had mainly learned it through personal interest. But this is not the most important finding. The most important was that the people who wanted to learn, they wanted to educate it, they wanted to evolve, they wanted to understand how they could create more responsibly. And this is what motivates us to continue. After that, we developed educational material through which we try to cover different educational units and different needs. And for us, it was very important that all participants had the opportunity to receive a certification of knowledge from an independent body. Because we did not simply want to provide information, we want to provide real education, real empowerment, real opportunities, and somewhere along the way, we reached the most creative part of the project. Over 50 participants were invited to create their own garment and participate in the competition. And the prize was today's event. We are here in Paris all together. And we are truly happy to have the 4 finalists with us today. Throughout the entire process, they had the support of their mentors who helped them not only understand the concept of sustainability better, but also approach the creation in a more creative and meaningful way. And what I personally received from this whole process was not competition. It was learning, it was inspiration, it was creation. And as I think about all of this today, I feel emotional. And how could I not? When in front of me, I see all the participants of the competition, the people who tried, the partners with whom we reached this point together. And also today I'm wearing a garment created by one of our participants who have made note, and also my colleague Esther is wearing another part. So they may not have won this competition, but they tried, they created, and they gave a part of themselves to this process, just like everyone else. And I think this is what ultimately matters most. For me, all participants are winners because they gain something much more meaningful. The experience of learning, of training, of being inspired, of collaborating, of creating something unique. And that's something nobody can take it away from them. So what I personally keep from this experience and what I would like to share with you all, even with the people online, the fashion should not be addressed only to a few people. Fashion should be for everyone. We should design clothes that are creative, accessible, friendly to the planet, and that we live on, because beauty is for everyone. And I truly believe that you are responsible for shaping perceptions around fashion, and you have the power to influence the way we see aesthetics, consumption, sustainability, and creativity itself. Because we live in a world that is changing very quickly. Needs are changing, trends are changing, technology is changing. But what should never change is the need to create with purpose. Not only something beautiful, but something conscious, something that respects both people and environment. And perhaps this is the true meaning of sustainability, not perfection, but the intention to make things a little better every time. And before closing, I would like to share a quote that truly expresses how I feel. Nikos Kazantzakis once said, "Love responsibility, say I alone will save the world. If it is lost, it's my fault." And what I personally keep from this thought is the importance of trying in every possible way, through whatever role we each have in this society, to contribute to changing our world. Through our work, our creativity, the way we educate, collaborate, and inspire each other. I truly want to thank you all, the participants, the partners that we work together, the mentors, and everyone who believed in this project. And I wish you, all of you, to continue creating, to continue in learning, dreaming, and imagining. Because every great change always begins with an idea that someone's dared to believe in. Thank you very much. Et voilà.
Merci beaucoup. This was the bit of French, and then there will be others, of course. Thank you very much, Christina. We are going now to have Alexandra Cardoso online. Elias, we have Alexandra. She's online.
Yes, good morning.
Hi, Alexandra. Alexandra could not join us, unfortunately, today because of strikes, planes, and things like that. So we miss you, Alexandra, very much. But she's she's going to give her talk online. Please go on and share your slides, please.
Okay, I will start to share my screen. But first of all, I want to say that it's a really pleasure to be here in the conference and have this opportunity to share with you also one of the main deliverables of the project. So I'm starting to share. I hope you see my slides. Yes? Yes? Oh. Okay. So one of the main focuses of the project was the creation of a needs-based curriculum and also a meaningful certification process. So the main goal was to better align the learning with the real needs and try to empower people to drive to transformation. So you know that the fashion and the textile and the clothing industry is constantly changing and evolving. And these changes are connected with the sustainability transition, digital transformation, also the new green skills requirements. However, traditional training does not always reflect these real industry needs. So this creates a kind of gap, and there is a clear need to better connect the learning, the practices, and also the employability. So the fashion, it's always in motion, always changing and evolving. But my question is, are we moving with it? I guess that in many cases, there is a gap between how fast the industry change and evolving, and how quickly the skills and the training development adapt. So I think there is a clear misalignment between what industry education covers now in terms of the skills and the learning, and what the industry in real need in terms of this kind of skills and new knowledge. But apart from this misalignment, there is also a gap in terms of the limited access to flexible and up-to-date training that keep pace with these changes. So we need a new kind of a new approach that is more practical with different kinds of methodologies, resources, and also more accessible in order to be able to be open to everyone that wants to learn and to keep up to date, and also that is truly European and with a multilingual perspective. Because why we say that? Because the transformation doesn't start with the machines. The transformation starts with us, with the people. start with the students because they are the ones that are building the skills of the future. Also with the teachers, because the teachers guide students, challenge them, and also help to create critical thinking. And also with the industry, of course, because the industry knows the real needs of the daily day. So with all this kind in mind, we started to create something different. So that's why we created the Green Vetrine, the capacity building. We started to analyze, and like Christina already explained, we start with a journey related with desk and basic research. We make focus group. We try to put together students, teachers, and industry. And with this study, we created a capacity building curriculum. And this curriculum that we designed, it was designed by European textile and clothing training experts from Portugal, Greece, Lithuania, and Luxembourg. And the real focus is on in the green and digital competencies, but we need to say that we also offer in this capacity building a modular and flexible learning. And I will explain now why. So let me try to briefly show to you the Green Vetrine course. So this is a free online course. You only need a simple registration process to be involved in the course. The registrations means the name and an email. And with the name and email, you are able to enroll in the course. The capacity building is we created 5 chapters, and each chapter have 4 lessons. It is aligned with the AKF level 4 to level 6, and it's aimed for fashion designers, vet tender, and higher learners, and also for all the textile and clothing professionals. The course included a questionnaire assessment, and also in the end leads to the certification. But I will explain better this part about the assessment and certification. But before this go to the certification and the assessment, just to tell you about the contents in the course. We believe that this Green Vetrine is designed to empower those who learn, those who teach, and also those who create. So it is a space to explore key areas, such as more responsible production, more efficient use of the resources and impact of the resources, the engineer in the textile, also related in entrepreneurship in the industry. And we also have a chapter dedicated to digital product passports. But above all these contents, the Green Vetrine is an invitation. It's an invitation to all that want to keep learning, because it's where real transformation happen. And I'm glad to say that until now, we have more than 500 people enrolled in the Green Vetrine courses, and more than 240 people certified in this course. So let's now talk about the certification. Upon full completion of the course, the participants receive in the end an automatic certification from the platform. But the certification is based on a continuous assessment. What it means? It means that in each chapter, we have a kind of assessment. The participants starting with a self-assessment. This first self-assessment try to understand the knowledge that they already have in the content. After go through all the content, in the end, the participants make another assessment, self-assessment, to try to see if they acquire or not the knowledge. And it's possible to repeat the assessment. So to have a completed course, they needed to go through the 5 chapters and answer the 5 assessments. And in the end, they have an automatic certification. But we needed to focus and emphasize here that the certification is not a certification for participation. It's more than that. This is a certificate of knowledge. And this is one of the main focus of this capacity building. But in addition to this automatic certification from the platform, the partnership goes a step further. And we also create the possibility of the participants to acquire an external certification. An external certification from HiCert. HiCert is an organization that provides high quality European certification. So this is also another opportunity for participants. They have the possibility to acquire 2 kinds of certification, an internal certification from the platform and an external certification that will acquire their knowledge in the course. So I will emphasize something that Christina already emphasized. The future of fashion depends on the decision that we are making today. So if we want a greener, fair, and more human fashion industry, we need to begin with what we already know, but also with what we are still open to learning. So I'm coming to the end of my presentation, and I just would like to say that this course is really about of giving people the tools, knowledge, and the confidence to grow and adapt in a changing textile and clothing industry. Because I really believe that when we empower people, we are not just training skills, we are creating real transformation. So I would like to end with this slide. And thank you so much for your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Any question? Oui, non, ne sais pas. Alexandra, your presentation was probably brilliant and understood by everyone, but don't worry, if they have other questions, we will answer them during some breaks or some lunch. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
I would like to give the floor to George, who is out there. Is it raining there in Luxembourg? George?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, so we are on the same boat. Then you can share your slide. Thank you very much.
So I suppose that you can see my screen. Today we will go together through the digital tools and applications developed for learning in the framework of a Vetrine project. So the Vetrine digital tools were created to support the full learner journey by enabling our users to access project information and results of a project, follow the Green Vetrine capacity building program for which Alexandra Cardoso talked about, identify skills, gaps, and learning progress, develop sustainable apparel products through anti-fashion, and make products and sustainability information visible to consumers. But first, we have to consider why digital tools are important in the framework of our project. So Vetrine was never only about creating training material, but it also aimed to create a connected learning environment where VET and avid learners could access structured knowledge, understand sustainability in apparel production, assess their skills and progress, apply learning in the real product development, and communicate sustainable choices to consumers. This way, our digital tools turned the project methodology into a practical learning pathway. So we did not simply focus on theory, but we moved on to its practical application. Here is the full list of the digital tools and applications developed in our project. We start, of course, with the Vetrine website, which served as the digital entry point of the project. As every other website here, users could access all information related to the project development, to the project dissemination results, and other outputs. The second digital tool is the Vetrine MOOC platform, which served as the online learning space for future eco-designers. Basically, it's where the Green Vetrine course was taught. The third one is the anti-fashion monitoring tool, which served as a natural continuation of the course. So it's where we tried to connect training with real product development. It's where people that completed the course moved on to the next step, which was to actually try to create a fashion product. And the last application is the FastPass application, which in turn also served as a natural continuation of the monitoring tool. So it served as a platform where all sustainable products developed as a result of the anti-fashion process were showcased. Now we will go one by one. So we start with the website, which supported access to project information, visibility of project activities and results, connection with the learning platform, dissemination of tools, outputs, and student projects, and communication with learners, trainers, companies, and other stakeholders. On the right, you can see how the website actually looks like. And without further ado, we move on to the learning platform for which Alexandra talked about already, so I will not spend too much time on that. The MOOC platform was developed as an online learning environment, not simply as a repository of training material. You can see that it is available in all project languages and not only in English. The learning platform supported the project by offering a clear digital entry point to the course, structured access to learning content, video-based learning resources, downloadable supporting material, autonomous learning, and automatic assessment and results, as well as a certification of participation upon successful completion of the assessment. So this way, the platform made the Vetrine learning experience accessible, organized, and easy to follow. An important aspect of the platform is that it allowed learners to follow the course independently and at their own pace, because everyone in this world have their own program and their own responsibilities. So it is very important that learners, either students or workers, can complete the program at their own pace. So learners can enter the course through the project website, navigate easily through the learning sections, access manuals and presentations, watch video lectures, complete learning activities online, and check their progress through assessment. This process made the course flexible for learners from different countries, background, and schedules. And now we're moving to the third one, which is the monitoring tool. It's the stage where the practical applicability of the theory begins. This is how the monitoring tool looks like. So as you can see, there are different sections. It's the About Us section, where some information about the anti-fashion process is being presented. We have the learning dashboard and the mentor dashboard. I will explain you what are these two sections. So after completing the Green Vetrine course, learners moved from online learning to practical experimentations. These photographs are real photographs provided by our students through the monitoring tool, where they create their fashion products. So the monitoring tool supporting the transition from theory to practice by helping learners to apply knowledge in a real product development process and follow a structured journey. On the left, the photograph is being taken directly through the monitoring tool. It's in the learner's dashboard. So you can see the different phases. You have eight phases, each one representing a different production level. So learners entered each different phase and completed some questions related to the specific phase in order to describe the level of production for the product. So they documented by doing that each stage of their work, and in return they received guidance from market-linked mentors. So each student was assigned a specific mentor, and together they worked to develop their products. Here you can see inside a specific phase, it's phase 2 here page, you can see that there are some different questions and some boxes that students have to complete in order to progress. And this way, the tool extended the learning beyond the course and turned it into a guided practice. And one of the prevailing features of the tool was actually the direct communication between students and their assigned mentors. So it was not, let's say, a one-person work. It was a collaboration and a coordinated practice between students and mentors. So, through the platform, students uploaded their monthly progress updates, shared photos, videos, and documents of their work. So it was not only text, but also media. And mentors reviewed each stage of the production process by providing feedback and guidance to the students. Students in return adjusted their activity plans based on their mentors' suggestions. And an important factor was that both sides actually followed the same timeline and aligned with our project milestones to ensure timely delivery of the projects, of the fashion projects. So the tool supported learners by making communication between the two parts structured and linked to the real development of a sustainable fashion products. And we'll move on to the final stage and final application of the project, the FastPass application. This is how it looks like. You can see that we have the home page where some main messages about the scope and the purpose of the application are being presented. The second section is the About section. Again, we have here some more detailed information about the FastPass process. The third one is the most interesting one, of course, the fashion products. And the last one is the voting page. So FastPass application is a digital application developed to showcase the sustainable fashion products created by the Green Vetrine students. So you can see that these products are the main result of the anti-fashion monitoring tool process. So all the different applications follow a logical progression of the project. So the FastPass application presented each project as a final fashion product, a sustainability story, I will stay a little bit here because it is important to showcase that students did not only provide some images and some basic information about their products, such as its name, its color, and its origin, but also provided their personal stories. They provided a short description of their main motivation between the creation of their product, their experience from their vetrine journey, starting from the Green Vetrine course to the monitoring tool and to FastPass application, a message to consumers, where they describe why consumers should actually value their product, and the message to future learners, an aspiration, let's say, a motivation for future learners to actually engage in the sustainable fashion production. So each project has been presented as a digital product passport experience. You can see that we start with some photos here, the green producer diary, some product details, materials information, manufacturing and supply chain, and care and repair lifetime extension. So each product page featured images of the product, some product details, some sustainability attributes like recyclability, and sustainable materials used in the production process, but also some care and repair information like no washing or recycle locally. And this is actually the main function of the digital product passport. It's not only images and text, it's explanations, it's more specific details that give to the user accessing this product a clear image of the sustainability value of the specific product. Finally, in the application, the final section is the voting section. So each user, after having accessing all the products, they were welcomed to vote for their favorite product in each country. So they could vote for their favorite product in each country. It's Spain, Portugal, Bulgaria, and Greece, for a total of 4 projects. Here you can see the fashion products page. You can see that all products are divided by country. And in the thumbnail, we have a photo and the title of the product. To sum up about the FastPass application, each product is presented with clear information about the product identity and design concept, materials and composition, and the production process, sustainability choices made by the designer in creating their products, environmental, social, and financial aspects. So it's not only sustainability, but it's also the value to the society and also its financial costs, care, repair, and life cycle information. And this way, the application helps visitors understand what its product is, how it was created, and why it is sustainable. FastPass combines product transparency with the personal story behind its creation. So as we already see, each product provided the inspiration of the designer behind the product, the creative journey, the challenges faced, the sustainability decision made, and the message to consumers. This way, each product became more understandable to the everyday user, more engaging, and more meaningful for the general public. Here you can see a nice graphic about how each user could participate in the process. So they had to explore the fashion products, learn a little more things about each fashion designer, vote for the favorite fashion items, and celebrate the national winners after the voting period closed. So the project visibility and the public voting details. All in all, we had 53 sustainable fashion products showcased in the application by 4 participating countries. The voting period began in 14 April and ended in 28 April 2026. And in 30 April, we announced the national winners. We implemented an open voting with no account or registration required to vote. Each person could vote only once per national competition, and we received more than 4,000 total votes. Here you can access all of our digital tools by scanning the dedicated QR codes. So please, we can just stay a little for some seconds here in case anyone wants to access the QR codes. And by saying that, I would like to thank you for your time and your attention, and also would like to thank the hosts for the conference. And I will leave the floor to Frederique. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. If you want to take any of this QR code and access, please do. This is fine. You know, it's free, it's open, so you don't have to pay for that. So, any questions about these online tools in the audience? Was that clear to everyone? George, it looks that your presentation, as Alexandra's before you, was very, very clear. You have a question. Okay.
I do. For me.
For me.
My question, maybe also could be answered by some of the participants here, is you used these tools. So what is your experience with them, and were they a useful part of this experience? Do we have anyone who wants to answer? No.
Very practical? Yes.
So we're hearing practical?
Yes, we had easy access to it. It was practical to work with. We could write. When we forgot something, we made in process of the project, so we could just open and look at it, like when we went from phase 1 to phase 8. And yes, it was nice actually. Yes. Easy to work with, yes.
And did anyone here vote? Did anyone participate in the voting process? Let's raise your hands if you voted. Hold it up, we want to see. Good, yep. Why did some of these people not vote? We had over 4,000 people voting on the platform, which is fantastic, and is thanks to also all the participants who shared it. So because George did something that was so easy to use, and the voting process especially was just very simple, and so that's means that we had also a lot of people seeing the products and participating in the project through this process, who would have normally not been able to be so exposed to the work. So I think that's a really compliments to George, who did such a good job with that.
Thank you, Alex. And now I would like to welcome. Thank you, George. Now I would like to welcome Anna. Anna is going to speak about the next subject. Tu mets la présentation, Elias?
Can I stay here?
Tu te mets où tu veux.
Okay, merci. So, good morning to everyone. It's a really pleasure to be here in Paris. Fantastic city. So, inspiring city. This is my presentation, yes. It's not working well? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, switch to the next slide, Elias, please.
Oh, it's okay. So my name is Hanna Dinis. I'm here representing ATP. ATP is a textile and clothing association in Portugal. In Portugal, this industry is one of the most important industries for our economy. So, but I would say that this industry and this ecosystem, fashion ecosystem, is one of the most important for Europe also. That's why we are all here discussing all these important issues. My presentation is connected with what George said before, and also what also Alexandra said, and also Christina. So we are here all together to think about what we can do more and in a better way, maybe, to solve or to try to solve, because this is an ongoing process. We are talking about sustainability, circularity, so all these challenges that are now in our industry, in fashion industry. So we felt this pressure every day. We know that the industry and all this fashion ecosystem is changing a lot due to this huge pressure. And of course, Alexandra said this also, Christina said this, we have these skills sometimes gap that we need to resolve. We also need to have a more practical way to train people. And that's why I think we can understand. So we have, in one sense, we have, of course, this theoretical knowledge that we have in our schools, in our training, education system. Sometimes these students don't have the opportunity to be close to the industry, to be close to the market. So, and in the other sense, we also have the industry challenge. So they need new skills, new people, but sometimes they don't have the resources to train the people to be more in connection with the skills. So this our project and this particular initiative, the entry fashion process that we are going to talk a little bit more, the idea of this is to try to have here a more practical orientation for the students, and also more collaboration between the students and the industry. Please go. As I think we can go further because, we have several partners from several countries, vet institutions, industry representatives, technological centers, so all the stakeholders that are important to change this and to improve the situation regarding the skills for sustainability. So this is our map. As Alexandra said, so we have this capacity building program that it was the first step to enter in the entry fashion process. The idea is after and during this entry fashion process, we have they have to develop a real product, a real textile product. Of course, with all the mentors' help. So the industry were here very involved, very compromised with this whole project. We can go. So here we have the journey of entry fashion process. So first have the CBP program done. So all the participants, they started by doing the CBP program. After we have this competition. It was not the idea. It was not a real competition. It was let's go deeper in this process of learning. Of course, they have to present an application with an idea of a product. But of course, here, it was not just a product. It was a product that has some sustainability or circularity features. So the idea is how can I present a product that it's sustainable and also ready to market, so not just artistic product. So after, when we received the application from the different participants, and we had 15 participants minimum in each country, we of course we check the type of the products that they are thinking to develop, and of course we are looking, in our case, in the different countries that were involved. We look for the industry, for the mentors, and we try to do this match, taking in consideration the materials, the techniques that they need to develop, which company, which mentor is best able to help these participants. So this is, I think, it was very interesting. Lucia is looking to me because she was one of the people at ATP that was dealing this. Of course, this is very important to know the companies. We are an association. We have several members doing different kind of products, technology. So here the idea is how this mentor, how this company can help these participants, can help this project. So it was a very interesting process and moment. Of course, when we did this March, the mentor started the working with the participants. So they starting this process of validation, mentoring. So they, of course, they hear sometimes they have this need to change some adaptations, the materials, the techniques. So this is a real process of understand the market, understand the business, understand the industry, and try to fit everything. Of course, they in certain cases they were limited by the materials that were available because of course the industry here, in certain cases, they provide the materials or they help the participants to arrange the material, but in other cases they had to adapt the initial idea to what is available on the market. So, and this is something that and Christina said that, okay, what is the best of this process? I think this is this need of adaptation, this need of collaboration, because in our working life, we need to adapt what is real on the market and what is the possibilities and what is also the feedback that we receive from the system. It could be the mentors, it could be the market, it could be the teacher, but we need to adapt and be flexible. Flexible is one of the features that in Portugal we use a lot to describe our industry. We are flexible industry because we need to change a lot, change quick, and change to the market, change to the client, change to the consumer. So, and also for you, I think if I can give you an advice, be flexible. Be, of course, involved with all the ecosystem and listen and receive all the feedbacks with a positive attitude, yes. So, George also explained that, okay, the final journey, it was this final presentation of the product, that it was done using these platforms that George showed us before. And we also have this voting system, public voting system. And during this process and through the monitoring tool, we have the possibility to register all the journey and do this reflection with the need to answer to all the questions and also to the feedbacks of the mentors. So it was here a process of mentoring, monitoring, feedback, reflection, adaptation. So and the platforms they help us and help the participants to do all of these, as George explained, and also for us that we are behind the scenes, so we are not involved directly in the process. It was good to understand how the situation was running in the different countries and with the different participants. And also, it was a good tool for us in a way to, okay, we need to do some pressure here, to do some recommendations there. So it was also a very important tool for us as participants in the consortium. Please go. Yes, I think I already mentioned this topic. So this is the importance that we need to be flexible. We need to understand what kind of materials we can use, we are able to use, if these materials are appropriate to do this kind of products, this kind of techniques. Because as you can see in the products that are here, and if you go to the platforms, we have a different and a huge variation of the products that the participants created, and in certain cases, the techniques were very different. So and here, yeah, and understanding also, because in certain cases, when we think about sustainability, and you know that. And in the perspective of the industry, we need to think about materials, but we also need to think about water, energy, chemicals, how we can use less resources, even the materials, how we can be more efficient. And of course, sometimes we cannot be perfect, so we have to do these trade-offs, or what it is possible. And in certain cases, we see this considering the materials choice. Sometimes when people think that, okay, we will use organic, or we will use, because this in certain way has a less impact for environment, but after this, or you use, for instance, recycled fibers. We are now talking about a lot of recycling and recycled fibers, but after we can see that in certain cases recycled fibers, they are less durable, with less quality. So we have to do these trade-offs. Is a recycled product more sustainable than a virgin material product that is more durable? So this is the kind of questions that they have to discuss with the mentors, with the industry. So, and of course, this it was a process. It was ongoing with different kind of decisions and compromises. And we will listen the winners after this, and they will maybe talk about how they need to change the idea. The first idea that they had in the competition. You can go, please. George already mentioned the monitoring tool. It was very important to keep the track and to keep this learning journey. But as George explained, I will not go further on this. You can go, please. So. When they did the application, when they said, okay, I'm interested. In the very beginning, they were informed that, okay, you have to do a product, considering that the voting, we will consider the creativity, because, okay, we are in the fashion, so creativity is very important, of course, but also all the sustainable approach to have a circular or sustainable product. Also, this orientation to the market, so the economic side of the project, it was one criteria for voting, and also the communication, the storytelling. And Georgia also explained how they also, besides the product creation, how they have to communicate the product, because sometimes we have fantastic projects, fantastic products, but if we are not able to communicate the products to the market, we will not sell it. So each person that needs to put a product on the market needs to think also in this economic and communication skills. Sometimes we don't have these skills, but we need to be with someone that help us on this way. So if you have, because you are in certain cases starting this journey to approach the market, I don't know, because part of this project is also to promote the entrepreneurship aspects of participants. So if you are next step, if you feel that okay, I'm going to open, I don't know, an atelier or something like that, please consider to be in part with someone that help you to sell the product to the market. You can have brilliant products, but if they are not communicate well, you will have a problem. So you can go further. Here we have the final 4 winners, so 1 per country, from Portugal, Spain, Greece, and Bulgaria. The products are there, and we will know a little bit more about the creations and the process of these participants, of these winners, in a few moments. But of course, it was very difficult because we received very, very good participations and products in this process. So besides these winners, we also give some positive mentions to other products because they were also very good ones. So and Christina said, what is important is not the winner, is the process to be in contact with more people, to be connected, to be able to do changes, to implement some improvements in my ideas. So all of this, I think it was the prize. Of course, the prize to be here in Paris is also a very good prize, we must say. Paris is fantastic. And thank you for your organization, for our French to our French partners. It's fantastic. So thank you to do all the work that you done to have this possibility to be here in Paris for this final conference. So for them, of course, to be here in Paris, it's very good. But I think all the journey, it was what they can bring in, I don't know, in 5 years, 10 years, what they will remember. It's not just to this final presence here in the final conference, but all the journey of this process. Please go. I think I already approached this. Please go. Yes, some challenge also for us, so that I need also to be transparent. It was not a journey without any challenge. We had some challenge. It was difficult to involve the participants, not because it was too complicated or not because it was I would say a very intense work, but of course they had their other engagements, other obligations for, I don't know, or other academic projects or professional projects. It was difficult to have the minimum, at least in Portugal, and I need to be honest. Of course, we did several trials in the schools to have the minimum 15 participants per country. So it was difficult. It was also difficult in certain, because we had this summer period in between of the starting moment, and we started before the summer. So when we need to restart again in September. So. Sometimes we also face some challenge regarding the materials. They need to change their ideas because it was difficult to find the materials for the initial idea. So it was difficult. another feedback that we received from the mentors, that it was in certain cases some communication issues. So the communication between the participants of course it was certain participants, it was not an easy communication. The availability, it was not so frequent. So and I need, of course, all of us, we need to reflect on this, how we can improve this. Maybe if we will start now, we'll do something differently. But yes, the communication and the engagement, it was the one of the main challenge that we face. Please go. Yeah. What we would do differently if we start now. Maybe we need to reflect on the moment to start this kind of activities, because if the participants are mainly coming from the schools, we need to check what is the calendar of the schools, what are the obligations of these participants in academic obligations, professional obligations. Also, maybe if we had the mentors in the very beginning, also in the presentations that we did in the schools, maybe this we also would be different in terms of communication between all. Yes, and also some more, because we try to keep it, this kind of process, flexible, not to impose a lot of obligations, because we know that all of us, we have a very crazy agenda, so we try to keep it flexible. But in certain cases, if I was now starting, I would say that certain physical moments of interaction would be obligatory. So, okay, I think this is something that we can do different in the next. Some of them also, they said, okay, we have your feedback that it was very positive and not complicated, but others don't see the same. So they said that, okay, maybe we can keep the monitoring more flexible. I don't know. It depends. You can go, please. Yeah. But what we really need to fix in our ideas is that we need to be more active in this kind of initiatives, because, of course, we are doing this, but we in Europe, we have 1.3 billion workers in the industry, just for the industry, okay, for the textile and clothing industry. So, of course, we have a lot to do regarding skills, and there is a lot also to do in the schools to better align these skills that we need for the sustainability and circularity challenge that we are now facing in the industry. And of course, I think this kind of projects where we put all together, schools and industry, working in a more close environment, I think they are very positive. So I think this kind of initiatives could be replicated and even can be enlarged in other initiatives. Please go. Yeah. I will finish with this sentence. And just before close, we are finalizing a guide, just to share with all that are interested regarding all this process and what we can do to replicate this in other environments with other organizations. For me, it was a very, very positive initiative, and I would advise to replicate this in your countries with other organizations, because we receive very, very positive feedbacks from the industry. In the industry, and I'm here representing the industry is very open to this kind of initiatives. They are very sensitive to this. They need professionals, they need young professionals, they need new skills, and they need that the people that are coming from the schools, they are able to work in the industry in the day that they are leaving the schools. So, because in certain cases they are saying to us, okay, I need these new workers, these new skills, but I have to train again them because they are not really ready to work for the industry. So if we, in our training courses, we have more moments to involve the industry, to put the participants, the students in the industry environment, or to bring the mentors to the class explaining the practical side of the sustainability and circularity challenge. This kind of challenges, this kind of initiatives, I think is what we need to put products in the market that are real, sustainable and circular. And I think I will finish it now, and thank you for your attention. If you, of course, you have any question, I'm here to answer you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anna. As we are a bit early in the schedule, I propose that we have, you have a question. Yes, Thanos. Thanos. Thanos.
But reading things from the project, deliverables and communication, the aspect of the involvement of the industry project was not so apparent as I have heard today. And this is an aspect which is very, very important. The way that you selected the different industries to be involved in coaching and helping the students, the interactions organized with them, and the way that they satisfy industry by the fact that they have the practice necessary for this is one aspect of that. And another aspect which also I guess is important is there is the general discourse about sustainability, recyclability, etc. But the experience of the trade offers to industry cases, inspiring cases of how you can promote the products you are producing through a discourse around how they have been assembled, what material they have, etc. Each story that we have in displayed in the competition is very inspiring for motivating the industry to reflect on how they could use this type of thing for promoting their products and differentiate from things which are made in mass production in other places.
Yes, I fully agree with you. And taking
if I may summarize, just for the live stream, the two comments by Thanos were that the link between the industry and the basic education was very, very, very important in those days, because it is so important to adapt and to be agile between the industry needs and the training of the new generation of people with real life operational skills. And that our Vetrine project is showcasing real experiences and giving inspiring stories about how it did happen, and we should be very proud of that.
In each country, we have different realities. In Portugal, for instance, to give you an example, our industry is an industry that is B2B oriented, so we don't have a lot of brands in the industry, and we don't have sustainability brands in the industry. Of course, we have brands. In certain cases, These brands the Portuguese brands don't produce in Portugal, okay? And what we produce in Portugal, the industry that I'm here representing, are for European or international brands, okay? So when I see all these fantastic projects and the marriage between these ideas and the industry in Portugal, for instance, I can see, okay, these brilliant ideas could help my industry to be more oriented, to have their own brands, more creative, because in certain cases, of course, we do creation, but we do creation, co-creation for the international brands, okay? So I would say that we need to also in Portugal do invest more in our own brands, Portuguese brands, sustainable Portuguese brands made in Portugal. And for this, I think these kind of initiatives are very important, because we have here the young initiative with all these creative ideas, fantastic ideas, and also they bring this communication knowledge, because they have this communication knowledge. And for instance, as we are not so fantastic to communicate to consumers, industry, because we are in this B2B model. So I think, for instance, for Portugal, I think this fantastic marriage between the young generation, very creative, very oriented to market, communication, and of course, from the industry side, they have the real knowledge what is a sustainable product. Because we have to think in all the choices during the process, during the creation, and also during the development of the product. So materials, chemicals, water, energy, everything is important to, at the end, have a product that is sustainable and circular. So I think these kind of initiatives are very, very positive. At least I see it for Portugal. And I think the realities in Greece, in Bulgaria, and Spain is a little bit different, of course. But what we receive as feedbacks, that it is this kind of match between the different needs and the different realities that brings the very good solutions, very good results for each part. I think we need to replicate these kind of things. Of course, what we have as a result could be different in Portugal, in Spain, in France, whatever, because we have different ecosystems with different realities. But for sure, in all the countries, we will have much more sustainable and circular initiatives ready to the market and communicating in a better way to the consumer. Because, sorry, just to finish. And here I take the floor for a message that it is not connected to this, but I think I have the obligation to say something about this. We are professionals. We are, okay, I'm here representing ETP, but we are also consumers. And I think all of us here in this room and online, we have this responsibility to talk about more about this. Even if sustainability is not what we do 100%, but our choices as consumers, as individuals, they are very also important. In all of us, we have our social media also, individual social media, enterprise social media. So, and we need to talk about more what the impact of our choices in terms of consumers. Just to conclude, European Commission, they decided in 2022 that we need to have an industry that is more sustainable and circular, textile industry, more sustainable. And what we are living now is the growing in a scale that we were not able to think some years ago about ultra-fast fashion. So what is wrong? What we are not doing well? Why we want to stop with fast fashion, and why we are seeing this exponential growth of ultra-fast fashion. Something is not correct. And we are all doing choices in our daily lives that could be improving or limiting this kind of movements. So just to finish, take all your but more than this, talk about this in your social networks. Talk about this, how we can do different to change this. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna, for this manifesto. We will have a 10-15 minutes break because we need to fix and to check that there's no thing happening. Your slide there were. So I invite you to take a coffee or tea or a glass of juice. Toilets are outside, and we'll be back in 15 minutes. Okay, thank you very much.
Upcycled denim and a thin cotton material fabric.
The innovation. Materials that we used are, as she said, denim, old jeans that didn't longer fit us, and thin cotton fabric from our old dress that didn't fit us at all. We sourced our raw materials from, as I said, from our old wardrobe, pieces that we don't wear anymore and otherwise would be thrown away. We decided to make an unstandard cut, a newer model, a garment that we don't see every day in our life, and that's why every scrap that we used, like from the leftover, we made roses out of it and put it on the top, or with the other leftover fabrics, we did the handle on the back, and yes.
Our inspiration is that we all have something in our wardrobe that we don't use, and instead of putting in the trash, we can make something new and save the environment with it and be more sustainable. And that's why we just have one jeans and one dress that we don't use and make something new, give a new life to our old clothes, and yeah, we can wear it along.
Our challenges. As we created the outfit, the model, the garment, the pattern is a bit different. It's not a usual pattern that we use. That's why we had difficulties making it. But with our creativity, we somehow did it, and it ended up looking very nice. We gained also very much of knowledge, skills. We embraced ourselves. That helped us grow as creators. This project helped us very much, so we can design our own outfits. Yes, we learned that we can make patterns that are very unusual, as I said. The decorating finishing touches are, for example, the roses. From the leftover scraps, we did something that looks nice, and so it wouldn't be thrown away. That's why. We also had a lot of problems. Not problems, they're not very big, but they're like tiny problems that happen during the process. And by using our creativity and some knowledge that we had, we made we somehow made it, and yes. Yes.
That's a little moment for our work. And thank you for attention.
Thank you very much, both. We will have the next one for the pitch, okay? The next one is... Okay, try not to...
Yes, no
Yeah.
before. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Eleni Xadaktilou, coming from Thessaloniki, from Greece. I'm a fashion stylist and creative director. And today I'm here to present ELI, Botanical Matter System. It's a Okay, thank you. It's a project about Greek knitwear and garment care, and about how natural elements can become part of the garment and not only a reference for it. For me, it started from a very personal place. Before fashion, my background was in agribusiness, marketing in the food industry, digital communication and information technology. At first, these things may look separate from fashion, but through this project, they came together. The idea was very simple, to bring Greek cultivation into contemporary fashion. Can we go next? And about ELI, the main question is, how can nature become part of the life of the garment? The garment is made from organic cotton knitwear with a plant-based infusion of saz, mountain tea, and pomegranate. And these elements are very connected to Greece, to the land, to memory, and to everyday care. I didn't want to use them as an inspiration or just to make a beautiful item. I wanted to give them a role inside the garment. So for me, a garment can carry more than shape and texture. It can also carry memory, scent, and care. Can go next. Thank you. So now we're talking about the innovation. This is where the innovation of ELI begins. The innovation is both sensory and material. And the botanical infusion gives the garment a subtle scent, natural color traces, and a deeper connection with the body. It creates a different relationship between the person, the textile, and the nature. At the same time, ELI explores a low-wash approach to garment care. For me, this is very important because the environmental impact of a garment does not only come from how it is produced, it also comes from how we use it, how often we wash it, and how long we're going to keep it. By exploring low natural tannins may support freshness and reduce unnecessary washing, the project encourages more conscious relationship with clothing. In fashion, we usually use nature as an inspiration in colors, shapes, prints, or mood boards. But with ELI, I wanted nature to have a more active presence. I did not want nature to decorate the garment. I wanted nature to become part of its identity. Here you see the collaboration process. ELI is my concept and development project, and it came to life with the value contribution of creative collaborators. That we have them here also. The garment design was created by Niki Roviti, and the knitwear production was carried out by Dani Kane Company from Greece, our textile expert, Georgia Fachouridou. My role was the concept development, the botanical treatment direction, the styling approach, and the final assembly of the project. So ILI brings together design, production, botanical knowledge, and my creative direction. The biggest challenge was balance, how to let the botanical treatment be present without overpowering the design of the garment. I had to observe how the organic material reacted, how the scent changed, how the natural cold traces appeared, and how all these elements worked with the knitwear. Through testing, observation, and collaboration, the project slowly found its identity. At this stage, I see ILI as an early stage textile project. It's a prototype, but it's ready to move into further research and development. The next steps are to test botanical finishing stability, scent retention, low wash performance, and further knitwear applications. That's why I'm open to collaborations with textile experts, researchers, producers, and sustainability-focused partners who could help take this research further. And the last one slide. So for me, ILI is more than a garment. It helped me understand that my previous background can become part of the way I create. It helped me connect cultivation, communication, and creative direction. So if I had, if I had to leave you with one final thought, it will be this. It's not about decorating a garment with nature. It's about exploring how nature can become a part of a garment's identity. Greek cultivation, fashion innovation, and human care. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleni. Can we have the next speaker for the pitch, which is Antrofolius?
Hello, my name is Camila Gomes. I'm here to represent Portugal with great pride. My project is called Between Leaves. My first idea was made the piece entirely with real leaves, but after talk with my mentors, I decided to combine the real leaves with the fabric. So I recreated the leaf by leaf, use a roll of cotton fabric, and also some of the real leaves. And this is my biggest challenge because I need to prepare the real leaves with water and glycerin. And at first, I want this in the brown color, but after all the tests that I made, it's always the dark green. So it was when I realized that when we use natural material, we cannot control everything, but we need to adapt. So I'm really happy with the result because this was a long and enduring process. It took more than 100 hours with handmade work, but this is what I love to do. My journey with sustainable fashion started 5 years ago when I created my first piece in using cotton, raw cotton fabric. And yeah, this fabric that everybody uses just to the prototypes, I really see like a blank canvas with 1,000 opportunities. And fashion for me is more than beautiful clothes. Fashion is art. And that's why I like to combine fashion with handmade work. I have here a short video for you you can see the moves of the piece. And I also made the sample that you can feel the texture between the two leaves, but I will ask please to share because I just have 9, okay? Can you please? And the video, please. Yeah, really short video. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Camilla. And now we have the fourth winner.
Thank you. Hello everyone, my name is Sofia and I come from Spain, Aige, and I'm going to present to you my work. This work is a bit different because I do costume art, and this garment is the target for it is basically an opera, Pagliacci, an Italian opera. But the actual concept was a bit taking aside this idea of the woman's body, the ideal corset and ideal woman body, and change that figure and make it art, basically with different materials, reused materials and decaying materials, because I like the idea of not reusing materials, but the decay in most of our... We wear a lot of garments which are very used, and it's... Most of those garments are the ones we most love. The ones that you can see are used and very decayed, basically. You can pass. It's made of a base of some lining, different pieces of lining I found sewn together, and on top I put some wool and different things I could find to decorate, and sewed on top some stockings, ripped up stockings, and it's all handmade, so it took a long time, a very long time. And after that was made, I made the actual corset. You can pass. The inspiration, the principal inspiration is music. I love the idea that it's not just visual. We are getting inspired by a lot of auditory things. And in this case, the character in this opera, I saw her as a very erotic a character. So I got inspired by the soundtrack of Moulin Rouge. And from that, I made this corset. You can keep on. In my journey, the most complicated thing was the time, because we don't have much time. But I could have. I did a good work, I think, and the most complicated part was the actual structure, which is not like a normal corset, because it's said I say it's a corset, but it's actually a structure. So also. It also has a corset inside, but set that aside. That was my my complication, and yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Alice? Alice?
Thank you for your presentations. We have very different projects here, and right now I would like to ask you some questions to go a bit further, discovering your own universe and journey into sustainable fashion through this European project. So let's start by Daniela and Amy. I propose you to follow the same order as the presentations, so that it's easier also for the audience, I guess. Okay, so you both have chosen denim.
Yes.
What have you learned about this specific material while doing your pieces?
Before the Vetrine project, we see denim like a comfortable and strong material, but only that. We can see jeans with jackets, but that not that much. But now, after we make this project, we learn how to transform the denim. It's easy to transform and experiment with the denim, and we think in the future we will experiment more with the denim because it's easy to experiment. It's stay beautiful in the dress or the top.
Very interesting. And also, if we think about the life cycle, we all know that for second-hand stores, you can find denim a lot there because this is a material that is long-lasting, and the way maybe the fabric is evolving throughout the time is pretty interesting for designers, I guess.
Yes.
So your plan would be to continue using denim as a base to
Yes.
make sustainable garments?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go to the second product, which is very different. So you have experiments with knit. Why did you, first of all, was it at the very beginning of the project something that you that were obvious to you and that came to your mind immediately, or is that you wanted to, like it came out of an exploration process?
Okay, first of all, I wanted to combine my whole career and my whole studies because, as I said in the presentation, I have studies in agribusiness management, marketing in the food industry, and then I followed my other love and I became a fashion stylist. And then I needed to combine, as I said, Greek agriculture, natural herbs, and we're trying to find the correct fiber, not to have any chemicals, to be green, sustainable. Also, I'm from Greece. We produce cotton with a very good quality. So it was a big experimentation, a very big trip for me. From the moment that we chose the correct fiber, the idea of the knitwear, how the whole sketch will be, the shape, everything. And then it was easier for the organic cotton to absorb the ingredients. It was a whole procedure because I wanted to see sustainability in fashion in a different way.
And I have another question for
Yes,
you.
of course.
What was actually your main challenge during the project, and do you see any limits in the sustainable global impact of the knitting process?
Okay, if we say about the knitting process, we cannot say that it's sustainable, only that. But with my collaborator, we used full fashion knitting process. That this leads not to have extra leftovers. So it was every part the fabric that was produced. That was the sustainability about knitting.
And for the main challenge?
The main challenge, okay, the main challenge is that I became a chemist in my house. Trying to try to make the other experiment that they were to make sorry, I forgot the word to make the liquid. Sorry, I got stuck. To make the liquid, to measure the pH. I was afraid of the color. They may have some stamps, some things. Okay, it was like experimental. That's why I really need to collaborate with someone to stabilize the whole process. Because after that, this is just the beginning. I'm thinking of doing something more, because this is maybe the biggest challenge. How to go further.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, first of all, your dress is very spectacular. It looks like a haute couture piece.
Thank you.
Yeah, I see. It's just that the name is Folas, right?
Sorry?
The name of your dress is.
It's Between Leaves.
Oh, okay, yeah. And why is this name?
Because I think that naturally have the history, and when I see my dress, I try to understand this history between the leaves. So I don't know. I feel like it's a good name.
Yeah, it is indeed. Actually, I have one question about the whole process, because we can see different initiatives. Like, it's a very complex project, mixing techniques. You have tried to incorporate elements from the nature that are not originally used for making fashion. And you said something that I think, one, very poetic, and second, very interesting as a learning experience, that it's you who adapted to the material. So my question for you is, when you will start your next sustainable fashion project, what will be the first step? The initiative will start with which step? Is that the material, or is that the visuals, or what would be your process for next time?
Okay, I think that will be the same that I already made, because I don't know, to make a sustainable fashion piece, I think that we need to understand why. So I always start with the why. I need to understand the intention behind that, because without that, I think that can be waste. And I don't know, just a beautiful clothes. So I believe that I need to understand why I will do that, and have a purpose, because with that I can connect with people that have the same vision. And I know that I don't create to everybody, so I really create to people that have the same vision that me. And the people will see this piece and understand what I want to express.
Very clear. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And regarding your very impressive corset piece, my question will be, we've seen a kind of, revival of the corset among new generation, whether it is because of the romantic aesthetic, dramatic aesthetic of the corset, or to deconstruct the gender-red idea of the piece and use it in a more subversive way. So I thought your choice very interesting, in the sense that it is probably talking to new gen. But what was behind this choice originally? Why have you chosen this particular piece for a sustainable project?
We've seen around history that corsets have developed in very different ways, and it's more famous said that in the past it was used to tighten the waist, but nowadays people see it as more aesthetically, which is what I'm trying to show here. What this generation is really doing with the corset, it's not about accentuating the waist, it's about reinventing the actual corset and seeing it more than just defying the waist of the woman. You can give it more shape, basically.
But also because Vetrine is about sustainability in fashion, for me it's an additional constraint or challenge to work on corset, because it requires different materials, some that are rigid, some other that are, so it's an additional constraint. So how did you how have you decided to choose those material for the structure, for instance?
Well, this is a normal corset. Corsets usually made with whale ribs, which I haven't used because I'm doing it in a reusable way. It's a structure. It's not an actual corset. That's the idea. It's a reinvention of it, and I'm trying to take the idea of the corset and build it into something what it looks like a corset, but in reality it's not, basically. So it isn't as bad for the woman's body as it would have been in the past.
So maybe for you, this question about the body is directly related to sustainability.
Yes, because
I understand.
It's damaging. It's also damaging. Obviously, this part of sustainability in my project is the material used to make the corset. But the idea of the actual corset is sustainable for women, not in the actual bio and world meaning.
Yeah, probably you're right. I think disconnection from the body and comfort is something that is related to the way we treat nature.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So maybe we can ask the audience if do you have questions for the finalists? Yes.
I do have some questions. I think you can hear me. Non, mais c'est pour le live stream, ma chérie. C'est pour le live stream. Hi. Thanks. Thank you so much for being here, for your work and your creation. And again, as someone said earlier, as Anna said, thank you so much for the organizers, our French colleagues. This is fantastic, and the place is superb. So I was intrigued by the cooperation of the Bulgarian students. You did this together, well, also the Greek one had some support, but especially you two. How did you solve, did you have the same opinion all the time? Did you agree? Did you have disagreements? How did you solve that? Because two creative people working on this for one final same output, I think there might have been some challenges there, maybe. I don't know. Thank you.
On some points we had different opinions, not mainly that we're like discussing it very bad so that we have like a fight, but for example, she thought about the rose. She was like, yeah, like this leftover scrap, like what are we going to do with it? And I was like, yeah, maybe we can add an accessory to the top or like to everything to make it even more pop up. That's why. And we like divided it in more parts. One mainly concentrated on the skirt, the other one more on the top. The other things we did together, so it would be like a together cooperation, yes. But how we invented the garment is we looked up more likely on the internet we looked up some inspiration. When we work in school, some things grabbed our eye, and that's why yes, just by our creativity and having inspiration we came up with the garment, yes.
Maybe this is a new generation of creatives who are working together in a more cooperative way.
We have also a similar style, maybe that's why. And yes, that's why we decided together, yes, that's cool. And like, we had the same opinions on like basically everything. Not everything, but mainly the...
It was funny to work. And it was very funny to work together because it's something new for us, and yes.
Yes, it's our first time participating in such a project. That's why we're a bit new to everything, and it's nice to have this experience, yes.
Any other question?
Thank you very much for your presentations. I would like to ask you what you have learned from Vetrine project and what we will keep from this experience. From all of you, like very quickly.
Yes, now that the Vetrine project is coming to an end, I would say that on my future it has a big impact because not just in an educational way, just also in a professional way. When I grow up, hopefully I become a sustainable designer. I say sustainable because the environment is very important to us. We can't live by fast fashion. Fast fashion is we know fast fashion is not good for the environment and everything. That's why, and I like very much working with designs and just the experience of having the experience to be here and knowing that sustainability is very important is going to help me in the future. Yes.
What I learned, okay, first of all, we learned about sustainability in this industry. But for me, I learned more things that you never know what is going to happen. You may follow a seminar, a whole contest happened, and things need to change about clothes sustainability, fast fashion. I really cannot understand how people still going on this. I'm coming from a company that, from a family that my mother, she was working a clothes company, her friends, family members. In Greece, we were producing clothes with good quality. Now it's destroyed in my country. So I want to give them another thing to think more sustainable, but in a real way, because we have it in Greece, but we have a lot of greenwashing, to tell you the truth.
I think that most important that I learned was believe in myself and believe in my vision, because I didn't knew that I can make a piece like that. And also I have this feeling that the sustainable fashion always called for me, and be here today, it's like a confirmation of something. So yeah, to believe in myself and in my vision.
Well, what I learned is that this really is the future. This is what the fashion industry needs to go to, or not. It will. It's the complete future. So what I would like to do is in future projects, work especially with waste, because it's not just making more biodegradable materials. It's actually using what is now destroying our planet, which is already in different wastelands, and using that to make new things instead of to take it out, because we need to take it out. It's destroying our planet completely, basically.
Thank you very much. Merci, Christina.
Last question. Now that you are the young generations coming in this fashion world, what recommendations would you do to these generations in order to apply more the sustainability, in designing? Now that you have this experience in Vetrine, what would you recommend and motivate to young generations?
You first.
Okay. I would recommend that being sustainable is even more creative. So you have to take it in an advantage, because when you have sustainability, you have a wider range, I would say. A bigger, wider range, yeah.
I think that we need to think outside the box, because we talk a lot of sustainable, but we don't put this in the day. So I think that we need to try create something that have this mean, and not just to be beautiful or not just to be sustainable, but that this communicate with the people. So I think that is the best way to share this idea.
And for me, it's not only creating something, have a unique design, and also, as we say, sustainable, is to think that whatever we do in our lives, they will affect us after. So if we think sustainable in fashion, we'll have a better quality, because they don't think sustainable, so we have all this pollution and things, stored tons of clothes. So just to think the next generation what is going to happen.
My mom always told me that out of scraps I can create something new and something better. That's why I think, yes, she's right, because I was told when I was young that everything that's like left over, you can create something and get the use out of it. That's why I think that every leftover is something you can use in everything, and it's helping the environment even more because we're not wasting anything and it's just not going somewhere and just laying there on it. We get a use out of everything. Yes.
I think the sustainable is very important, and I will say to the others that slow fashion is more good, like quality, like life in the garment, like the fast fashion, because we all know Shane and Temu, then they are so popular and they are not in good quality. They just, in the few months, they just break. And yes, it's more sustainability is more good for the future, the environment, and
Thank you very much indeed. Alice, do you have anything to add, or?
Not sure. I think that was super clear. I don't know, maybe you have a question for me, but because I think it was the idea. Like any specific concern that you would have about your evolution within the fashion industry?
Or maybe Alice, or maybe we can speak about this at the lunch, or
I don't know. I don't have any
because we still have a.
Sure, let's do it this way.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. No. We now have Alex, who is going to speak, because we have been showcasing the winners, but there are all the others who have been contributing a lot in this project, and there were a lot of very interesting projects, and Alex is going to go through them in some kind of conceptual marketing communication way.
Okay. There we go. Thank you. No. Good. All right. Thank you so much. So I am Alexandra Korey, and I have the pleasure of, showing you works by all the other students because, as Christina said when we were getting started, they're all winners. If you manage to make a project from conception to pulling it off and putting it on a rack, you have won in all of our eyes. So what we want to do is indeed also spotlight that. So what I'm going to do in the next slide is we're going to have a look at some of the themes, because if you look at the whole body of work, there are certainly a number of themes that come through that represent what the students are all thinking about at this time. But before we do that, we're going to have a closer look at 5 works that we wanted to recognize specifically, and that's on the next slide. As you know, there was a vote. So there was a public vote over 4,000, was it 5,000 or 4,000? People voted, and that vote was then ratified by a jury of project partners. So we checked, we said, okay, the public clearly is attuned to ideas of sustainability because they correctly chose these works that represent the various values that the Vetrine project has been talking about. But we also certainly saw those values in all of the projects and some others that really stood out. So here with us also in the room is this, we assigned a jury prize to Rita Silvestre for her wild broom dress. She was working with a natural material, she's working with natural dyes, and she was also immediately collaborating with, the next slide, please. Collaborating with industry to produce something that is reproducible. So as we all know, some of those natural dyes are not so stable. And so she was already thinking about that and thinking about how can I make a product that I'm going to be able to sell. So we recognize that, her concept of collaboration and testing as something that we really wanted to highlight. The next one is so Valerie Papadopoulou for her Cyclades, which is also hanging on the rack here. This one we're recognizing for its heritage inspiration. So she's working with her great-grandmother's home textiles, and we see a family heirloom that becomes a simple dress where, I mean, can you imagine cutting into this? Like you wouldn't want to cut up your grandmother, your great-grandmother's things. And so she's really thinking about how can I drape it? How can I use the whole fabric to not change it or not to really next slide, thanks. Not to, damage it in any way, but rather to elevate it by thinking about my heritage. And she comes up with this form that is inspired by Cycladian figures, by ancient Greek sculpture, and it's also a form that can be used over time if your body changes, because it's a size-friendly piece that can be worn with a belt or without. So as you may have noticed, these special mentions are one per country. For Portugal, we have Miguel Barros with his loom dress, which is also hanging on the rack here. And he had the idea of working in recycled polyamide and taking the real challenge of working with circular knitwear machine. So Miguel is a passionate paddle player, quite a high level himself, and he's working in this niche that's a very important one of paddle, technical wear for paddle, but also I can say as a tennis player for tennis, where there really is not a huge drive in sustainability and recycled materials. So I think he's really onto something with this as a business idea. He was starting to develop it. He said it's a little bit on the back burner right now, but he might be also thinking about doing a business with them. And we would absolutely encourage him to push through with this with the right amount of market research and development. This is an important niche to be working on, so we recognize him for that. From Bulgaria, Fatima Tahip, I hope I'm pronouncing people's names right. We wanted to also highlight the fact that a number of accessories were made in this project. And so we have her bag here. This is a great bag. It's really nicely constructed. You can take a look if you're here in person. You can open it up. You can see she's done a wonderful job with the stitching, with the lining, to make a bag that is, yes, easily reproducible. On our next slide. Easily reproducible. It's very practical. It's very big. In fact, the team from Bulgaria brought all of the items in it. So we can say it's usable right from the start. And it's something that, you know, she made from her own discarded jeans, as they all did, and that she will definitely use. So that's great that you know, when you have pieces that cannot necessarily be used to make a garment, of course, you can always think about accessories. So that's a really great line of thinking. And for Spain, finally, for our special mention for Spain, we have Nahia Pagola. Her floral dress and cape, also over here, is made from upcycled bed sheets and paper flowers. And she's inspired by the artist Frida Kahlo, who, you know, as we always think of as being very, very colorful, but she also has a lot of emotional baggage. And so this is kind of like cape that covers, and it's very contextual, like that, conceptual. Next slide. So I happened to be on Instagram, and I noticed that Dior's Cruise 27 collection is full of appliques of silk flowers. Well, isn't that funny? Because we had already chosen this as, you know, for special recognition because of its formal wear possibilities. So this is something that in its current stage cannot really be washed, but you could think about this actually for example, for a wedding, if you did a white version or maybe a colorful wedding. And she's clearly in line with just what the high designers are thinking about, because this Dior thing was not presented yet when Nahia developed her project. So congratulations to these 5 sort of special mentions and additional winners. What we now want to do is look overall at one of the themes that our students are working with. And we're going to go through them in this order. So we're going to look at the materials, the techniques, the design, and what inspired them. The winner, absolutely, when it comes to material is upcycling. There is an absolute recognition amongst all of you that we really have enough stuff. And so let's take that stuff. We all know that, you know, we have more clothes than can last for I don't know how many lifetimes. So, you know, upcycling is definitely the way to go when you can. There was an interesting, I read what all of the students wrote in their diaries, in their journals. And Anna from Greece, she talks about how when you have, when you work with jeans or upcycling, you can keep extant seams because pocket seams and reused details are not imperfections, but part of the story and identity of the piece. And I really like that because when you work with something and you keep its history, it's the same thing with vintage clothing, with vintage furniture. It's nice to think that somebody had something before and that it has a history, it's lived, it's seen things. So I really thought that was a nice way of sort of saying, don't worry about it. You can keep those seams in place. And so if we look at the next slide, we see upcycled denim is the #1 material, and that's because denim is just, it's omnipresent. We use it all the time. Denim is pretty much always in style. I wouldn't say it's never going to go out of style because I never want to make a statement like that, but I'm thinking it's always going to be in style, and we're always going to use it. It's washing. You can wash it a lot, and it lasts a really long time, and it lasts so long that we really should keep using it. If it's ripped, if it can't be used, if it doesn't fit. I mean, I can tell you how many jeans I have in a box that don't fit me. So if I can take all of those and I can upcycle them, these are some of the ideas of the students that have done that. And sometimes they will keep the seams, the extant seams, but sometimes they have also done some very clever work with appliques, with embroidery, to also make something that uses the parts of the fabric that don't have extant sewing or pockets on them. So you can work with it either way. Special mention goes to Noelia Lopez. I hope she's listening, for her vest. The last one here, it's kind of a small picture, but she found out that the part of the jeans that when they're deconstructed for reuse, the part of the jeans that usually gets thrown out is the waistband. So she said, I'm going to make a vest out of waistbands. The thing is, if anybody here sews, you know how many needles she must have broken by trying to make that. So that's a very interesting challenge, a huge challenge that she decided to take. Next material. Thinking about flowers, flowers really show up mostly in this Spanish, there must be a Spanish mentor behind these paper flowers, but we see paper flowers on 2 of the items, the cape and also this costume, where flowers really, it's an amazing way to make something that's otherwise quite a simple pantsuit into a very dramatic item. So great idea if you just want to wear a simple suit. Right.
So they had a special license. The teachers in the textile department, they were allowed to move from the home to go to school and make these things. And after the emergency was over, we had a lot of masks left over. So the flowers are made with the inside layer of the mask.
Right, so Alison is, for the people online, Alison is saying that their school had a special license to move around during COVID because they were making masks, and that the paper that you see here is in fact the lining of a number of masks. But is it also the colored ones or just the natural?
No, the colored ones are made of paper.
Right, exactly. So indeed.
The other 2 garments,
The other, yeah.
they have been dyed with some sort of tea leaves, something to get that brownish color, because the original tissue was more whitish.
Right. So in Spain, indeed, the students were reusing all this leftover COVID mask material that they just slightly colored. And so in these 2 projects, we see that, whereas the others are regular paper flower. There's always cut paper around. Moving on to another material, we see the use of organic and biomaterials in the dress that Christina is wearing. The student, the person made it with this technique that you see here, where you wrap the flowers in a kind of roll them up, and that makes for the print. And then she also did an overall dye or natural dye, whereas Rita also is working with natural dyes as she was looking into stabilizing. And then taking also biomaterials to quite an extreme. We see the bioplastic sculptural dress in the last slide. These students actually created their own bioplastic Obviously, it's not going to be very flexible, so they're working also with sort of how to attach these pieces, how to make it into something you can wear. It's certainly wearable art, but that is one of the, certainly the strains of the future is what can we do with biomaterials, and how can we make biomaterials into something that becomes more and more wearable, that's not, you know, that's not going to fall off your body when it rains. And so that's, it's great to see them having taken this additional challenge of making a material on their own. In terms of techniques, what do we see? You know, when you're working with fabrics that already exist, one way we can think about it is if you rip it up. And so Idoya has started with the base of a fishing net. She collected hundreds of t-shirts of different colors, ripped them into strips, and then hand knotted each one onto the base. She had help from some of her colleagues because there was a lot of knots, and it was too heavy to bring. It weighs 7 kilos, so that's why it is currently at home in Spain. But also, you know, thinking about embroidery, we didn't see very much of that. This is one just small example of embroidery, which can be a nice way to repair and to reuse material that maybe can't be reused otherwise by working with embroidery or applique on top of it. Weaving, another very nice way of, you know, using up bits that you might not be able to use anymore. And in this example, the student using a home textile has then sort of integrated it in a really seamless manner to create the weave there. And then braiding as well is another way where you can use scraps to which you might have not been able to use otherwise. But if you braid them, you weave them, you're really using up everything, the little pieces. So it's a great idea. Techniques continue with knitwear. We don't actually have a lot of knitwear projects in this experience. Why? Well, it's very challenging. I mean, you know, you said you needed to work with experts to do it. Miguel did his experience with a mentor and with a company that allowed him to work in circular knitwear, and I'm quite sure he faced a number of challenges. So it takes longer to get to a good prototype. It takes longer to get to a product in the end. And maybe because knitwear may not be perceived as sustainable as starting with already materials that already exist, upcycling, etc. But of course, it can be made with recycled materials like the recycled polyamide that Miguel is using. It can be made with natural materials like you did, but it also can be done by deknitting and reknitting. So that's something that is another sort of area of exploration, and we're seeing that a lot with like home knitters now when the price of wool and things are going up. When you go, especially when there's access to good charity shops, you can unknit a sweater that might have cost 2 or 3 euros and then reknit that. And that's for bigger knitting, but you know, you're going to see that going into knitting machines in the future. And so there is this future that's interesting in reknitting. And actually, we're in a project that is exploring that, starting very soon. So check back with us in a few years and we'll probably have some really great deknitted and reknitted examples to show you. Modular design. So we're now moving into the design. What are the design elements that we're seeing most often? And modularity is an interesting one. I liked here to show the drawings because this is a way to actually show, rather than one picture, 2 of the examples of modular design that we see. Teresa, who was making a hooded poncho that turns into a bag. So you can put stuff in it, then you can take it off and put it on for the rain. And Iris, who made a kind of a sweatshirt with a really interesting fabric, recycled bio fabrics, and it has detachable arms. And here are some other modular projects. And Sarah Marquez, who joined us here today, her project is right up there on the rack. And so I still encourage her to try it on and show us all the different ways that it could be worn, because this you now see as a jacket. It's waterproof. It's got these snaps. And then you can unsnap it, and it makes little shorts. So it makes a whole outfit out of something that's currently just looks like a jacket. So it hides secrets. And Anna Batsina, whose work is hanging on there behind you, was inspired by the huntress Diana, and is, like Diana, highly mutable. And she comes directly from old black t-shirts, which you usually would throw out. On to the next theme of design, the sculptural. So we do see some projects, a lot of them coming out of the students working in costume design. but sculptural things like the really incredible spine in this costume by Oir, the sculptural bioplastic dress that we saw, or Tomás Rodriguez, who I think this is a really, really interesting costume that he's developed with this very three-dimensional vegan leather that they sourced, where he was working. I don't know how well you can see it there, but I encourage you, if you missed it, to go and look on the website and see this work, because it actually kind of creates these series of three-dimensional triangles. Yeah, the pyramids. Pyramids, that's the dimensional version. These pyramids that are sewn together, which I think is quite challenging to do, with probably broken needles involved here too. Let's go on to what inspired you. So heritage, particularly strong in Greece, I would say. Maybe that's because you live with layers of history that you can really, really see everywhere. And so a number of the students in Greece really look to that heritage, both from in terms of the shape, as we see in Valerie's piece, in Anna, she's literally looking to Greek mythology, and in both in Valerie and Sophia, they're working with their great-grandparents as textiles, so bringing something out of family history and also keeping simple shapes that really do remind us of early Greek figures. Whereas in Spain, we have this interesting interpretation of a costume, very, very well made. It's a Basque costume using sustainable fabrics and with this really nicely constructed neck piece. Another inspiration is art and artists. We already have seen how Frida Kahlo is behind this floral dress and cape, but we also have this piece here after the artist Yayoi Kusama. If I hadn't written that, would you have seen that? Because it looks just like a kind of octopus tentacles. She's very famous for her polka dots, and it really is a great interpretation of that. One of these pieces with the COVID masks that Ariane made is she writes that she is inspired by a sculptural installation artist called Peta Coin. I didn't know this artist, but I looked her up, and indeed I'm seeing the connection. So she did an interesting inspiration of something that is sculptural and installation, but making into something that is more potentially wearable. So that's interesting. And the last work here, this is a deconstructed corset ball gown by Rebecca. She writes that she was inspired by Francis Bacon. And I don't know if you can picture a work by Francis Bacon, but when I wouldn't have said, oh, look, Bacon. But then when I did think about it, I was like, oh, yeah, he has this kind of, it looks like flesh that's ripped off. So actually really interesting that the way that the fabric is ripped and hanging and the color used. Yeah, I see the connection. So that's, it's nice to see this level of knowledge of history and history of art. I'm an art historian, hi. So yeah, I was very appreciative of the way that they've worked these things. And then of course the inspiration of nature. You're anticipating my slide changes, good job. So of course, you're talking about sustainability, so nature is going to be at the base of us. We've got our leaves from Camila, we've got the flowers dyeing the fabric on there, and of course nature and the research into botanicals in Eleni's project as well. And our very last inspiration I wanted to look at is the concept of mask and masquerade. So we do have a number of students who are also studying costume design, and that would be why we have Sophia's costume corset, dramatic corset. We have the Battered Harlequin by Maria, and Tomas's multifunctional costume-like masked dress, which I'm not sure if he was thinking about cosplay or something with that, or maybe this is everyday wear for him. I'm not entirely sure. But the fact is that this has a mask. And this other work here by Antonio that's hanging on the rack here, there's a mask in this too. And I thought it was interesting that he writes why there's a mask. So he says, through the drama of the mask, I want to present myself as a young designer bringing with ideas, capable of transforming any material, relishing the creative process. And I think that's a wonderful description of how clothing is always a mask. So he's using a literal mask, and he's using this specifically in an outfit where he can present what he is, what he wants, what he can express himself. Clothing is always an expression, and it's always a kind of a form of a costume of us dressing up and wanting to be who we are. And so by doing that through, as he's saying, sort of upcycling or recycling or using interesting shapes, using interesting new materials, we're really, let's say, moving into a future and a new way of representing who we feel we are and how we want to show ourselves to the public. So all of these results, the results by the participants of the Vetrine process, but also the results of the vote, because remember, we had a public who was carefully attuned to what we've created. This is all proof that these key concepts in sustainable fashion are at the forefront of Vetrine participants' minds and of our public's minds. So sustainability for them is no longer an option. And I have this image because it's through her eyes, it's through your eyes. These are the future designers and producers. They can now upcycle and create something new. Like you said, you know, my mother said, you can make it. Yes, you can now. You can upcycle, you can create new products. You're thinking about social, environmental factors, and you're taking that into consideration. You want to make the world a better place, but still an aesthetic and beautiful place to be. So for our Vetrine participants, we can say that this is the only way to create and consume fashion that reflects them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex. Any question to Alex on the themes? No? Okay, so we are closing, we are coming to an end on this beautiful morning. So I am Frederique Thureau. I have been your MC since the beginning of that conference. And I just want to summarize in 2-3 slides, you know, what we have been going through this morning. So, the first slide is about what we learned today. We learned a lot. And we learned particularly that industry is going to become greener a lot more than it used to be. And in real terms, it is not only green as greenwashing, but green as Anna was insisting in her speech. Green in the terms that it is making, you are making it real. And we are also duplicating that and with digital, because it does work together. Even if there is a need, and as Anna was mentioning, there is a need for more hybrid type of conversations between when we are going through the curriculum. The actual digitalization of what we have of the tools that we have produced to coach the students and to help the students go and the professionals to go through their garments development was an important thing. So green and digital. So by design, I would say that we have I hope we have demonstrated that we can empower students and professionals to work sustainably by the design itself. So I'm not saying, I'm not going to repeat for the 1000th time that we have to go eco-design, material sourcing, etc. It's just that we are embedding sustainable design within the curriculum, and we are trying, and because we are engaging students and professionals to make things, they are doing it with their heads, with their hearts, and with their bellies. So, this is the engagement that we succeeded in, that we achieved, and of course the flexibility and the modernity that we mentioned a lot. So I hope that we contributed to all of that, and from a European perspective, because as you know, we are sponsored by EU Commission for that project. What we still have to do together. Thank you to all of you here. Thank you to all of you online. But you know, we need to continue this adventure. We need to help everyone to change our collective mindset to sustainability and to real sustainability. We help to diffuse and to disseminate what we have been going through. You, me, the people who are listening to us. We have to disseminate that, and we have to help this sustainability to be more systemic. And we have to engage the 3 types of stakeholders, the industry, the learners, and of course the trainers. I'm not forgetting the trainers in the loop, because as was mentioned at the beginning of this morning, it's a couple, the learner and the trainer. And of course we need to balance the creativity and the feasibility. So very often people will tell us, oh, this is nice, but this is not feasible. Or, oh, this is feasible, but this is not nice. But we need to go beyond that, because we can demonstrate that we can go further that vision. And we have the arguments to answer to this type of standard systemic feedback, like, that's not working. Okay? It can work, and we have demonstrated that it was inspiring. Listen. And of course it will help us all along the value chain, whoever we are on the value chain. It is going to help us improve our learning journeys and our sustainable journeys. So I would recommend that you use Vetrine as a basis for your learning training experiences, that you expand the curriculum, and that you use everything that has been shown this morning to give proof that the promise is done. And that's it for me.